Hello and welcome to Quiz Class. I'm your host, Ellen, and today we have 100 questions on general knowledge. Let's take a look at our Quiz Class awards. Let us know how you rank in the comments at the end, along with the answer to the bonus question. What equipment item was worn for the first time ever by hockey goaltender Jacques Plante in 1959? Shin guards, padded jersey, or face mask? A face mask. What was banned from the 1968 Olympics due to its political symbolism? Country flag headbands, three-finger salute, or the Black Power salute? Black Power salute. Which biotech company introduced Humulin insulin? Pfizer, Merck, or Genentech? Genentech. Which Soviet probe was the first man-made spacecraft to land on Venus? Venera 4, Venera 3, or Venera 2? Venera 3. Which Indian prime minister launched the Green Revolution? Jawaharlal Nehru, Rajiv Gandhi, or Indira Gandhi? Indira Gandhi. Who composed the theme for The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly? Ennio Morricone, Hans Zimmer, or John Williams? Ennio Morricone. What 1920s dance involved quick kicks and steps? Tango, Charleston, or the Foxtrot? Charleston. What form of live stage entertainment from the 1910s featured musical numbers, skits, and specialty acts? Vaudeville shows, minstrel shows, or burlesque? Vaudeville shows. Which Japanese company launched the bullet train in 1964? JR Central, Tokyo Metro, or JNR? JNR. Which fast food chain used the slogan, "Where's the beef"? Burger King, In-N-Out, or Wendy's? Wendy's. Which airline introduced the first frequent flyer program? Texas International, Delta, or Pan Am? Texas International. Which toy maker released the first ever action figure in 1964? Mattel, Hasbro, or Kenner? Hasbro. Which of these credit cards debuted in 1958? Diners Club, Visa, or American Express? American Express. Which Japanese car was first sold in the US in 1958? Publica 30, Toyopet Crown, or Toyota FJ40? Toyopet Crown. What was the first high-level programming language? C++, Fortran, or COBOL? Fortran. Which stage musical had the song Do You Hear the People Sing? Phantom, Cats, or Les Miserables? Les Miserables. Which early portable music player came with orange foam headphones? RCA Runner, Panasonic Mini, or Sony Walkman? Sony Walkman. Which artist painted water lilies and helped define Impressionism? Claude Monet, Edgar Degas, or Paul Cézanne? Claude Monet. Chrysler Building was briefly the tallest building in the world during the 1930s. How tall was it? 1,703 feet, 2,174 feet, or 1,046 feet? 1,046 feet. What was the name of the hurricane that devastated New Orleans in 1965? Hurricane Donna, Hurricane Irene, or Hurricane Betsy? Hurricane Betsy. Which novel told the story of a lawyer defending a black man in the Depression-era South? Out of the Dust, To Kill a Mockingbird, or Grapes of Wrath? To Kill a Mockingbird. Which natural disaster destroyed most of Anchorage in 1964? Earthquake, hurricane, or wildfire? Earthquake. Which Dutch artist became known for mind-bending optical illusions? M.C. Escher, Pierre Mondrian, or Karel Balfe? M.C. Escher. Which 1950s American car was the second to have a fiberglass body? Plymouth Fury, Kaiser Darren, or the Chevrolet Corvette? Kaiser Darren. What 1930s dance originated from Harlem's Savoy Ballroom? The Lindy Hop, Jive Swing, or Funk Shuffle? Lindy Hop. Which airline was the first to introduce flight attendants in hot pants during the 1970s? Qantas, Air France, or Southwest Airlines? Southwest Airlines. Which brand became famous in the 1980s for the slogan, "I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV"? Vicks, Tylenol, or Alka-Seltzer? Vicks. Which beauty came from India, won the Miss World title in 1966? Madhubala, Rita Faria, or Zinat Aman? Rita Faria. Which singer performed the 1985 hit We Are the World alongside Michael Jackson? Elton John, Prince, or Lionel Richie? Lionel Richie. Which year's Olympic event once included live pigeon shooting? 1932, 1900, or 1924? 1900. What was Max Factor's pancake makeup originally developed for? Color films, modeling photos, or theater? Color films. What 1967 toy used a light bulb and translucent pegs? Glow Grid, Magic Light, or Light Bright? Light Bright. What job did Walt Disney have during World War I? Combat pilot, interpreter, or ambulance driver? Ambulance driver. Who was the 1920s Radium Girls case about? Nurses, coal miners, or factory workers? Factory workers. What was the first computer mouse made from in 1964? Wood, plastic, or steel? Wood. Which famous actor tap danced in roller skates in a 1955 film? Fred Astaire, Donald O'Connor, or Gene Kelly? Gene Kelly. In which country was the world's first artificial heart valve successfully implanted in 1960? The United States, Switzerland, or Germany? The United States. What 1980s South African song became a symbol of struggle against racial injustices? Rainmaker, Asimbonanga, or Cape Fire? Asimbonanga. Which singer's 1968 TV special was his first live music performance after a 7-year hiatus? Johnny Cash, Buddy Holly, or Elvis Presley? Elvis Presley. Which Asian instant noodle brand was founded in 1958 and became popular among college students? Samyang, TNT, or Nissin? Nissin. What magical gesture did Samantha use to cast spells in the TV show Bewitched? Twitching her nose, snapping her fingers, or wiggling her ears? Twitching her nose. Which 1976 film used the line, "I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take this anymore"? Taxi Driver, Wall Street, or Network? Network. Which British computer popularized home computing in 1982? Amstrad CPC 464, Commodore 64, or BBC Micro? Commodore 64. What is the sun on the Argentinian flag called? Sun of May, Sun of June, or the Sun of August? Sun of May. Which Kenyan marathon runner won the 1988 Boston Marathon? Tagaye Kebede, Salah Talib, or Ibrahim Hussein? Ibrahim Hussein. Which Latin American artist created the mural Man, Controller of the Universe in Mexico City? Diego Rivera, David Alfaro, or Rufino Tamayo? Diego Rivera. Who was the Lakers' first pick in the 1979 draft? Magic Johnson, Vlade Divac, or Michael Cooper? Magic Johnson. Which 1916 play by Susan Glaspell introduced the character of John Wright? The Doll's House, Our Town, or Trifles? Trifles. Which art movement in Zurich was a reaction against the horrors of World War I? Cubism, Futurism, or Dadaism? Dadaism. Which 1924 composition by George Gershwin combined classical music with jazz influences? Rhapsody in Blue, Appalachian Spring, or The Rite of Spring? Rhapsody in Blue. Who composed the music for the 1960 musical The Fantastics? Stephen Sondheim, Leonard Bernstein, or Harvey Schmidt? Harvey Schmidt. Who was the British Prime Minister during the Falklands War in 1982? Margaret Thatcher, John Major, or Tony Blair? Margaret Thatcher. In what year did Pablo Picasso create his famous painting Guernica? 1937, 1942, or 1929? 1937. Which marine mammal was heavily hunted for its blubber in the early 20th century? Manatee, walrus, or the blue whale? Walrus. Emperor penguins are the biggest penguin species. Approximately how tall are they? 180 centimeters, 120 centimeters, or 150 centimeters? 120 centimeters. Who won the FIFA World Cup in 1998? Brazil, England, or France? France. Which classic novel by Joseph Conrad explores the futility of European colonization in Africa? Nostromo, Heart of Darkness, or Lord Jim? Heart of Darkness. Which British author published The Prime of Miss Jean Brodie in 1961? Muriel Spark, Iris Murdoch, or Jeanette Winterson? Muriel Spark. Which abstract painter founded the Surrealist movement in 1924? Wassily Kandinsky, Pierre Mondrian, or André Breton? André Breton. Which 1987 international agreement aimed to phase out substances that deplete the ozone layer? The Montreal Protocol, Kyoto Protocol, or the Paris Agreement? The Montreal Protocol. Which economist's 1944 book, The Road to Serfdom, warned against central planning? Milton Friedman, F.A. Hayek, or John Keynes? F.A. Hayek. Which astronomer's 1970s discovery provided key evidence for dark matter? Vera Rubin, Okuro Oikawa, or Nicholas Olahus? Vera Rubin. In which 1919 conference did Woodrow Wilson promote his 14 points for lasting peace? The UN Conference, the Paris Conference, or the Berlin Conference? The Paris Conference. Which 1979 revolution overthrew the Pahlavi dynasty? The Afghan, the Egyptian, or the Iranian Revolution? The Iranian Revolution. What product did IBM release in 1981 that became a standard for personal computers? IBM 5150, IBM 1620, or the IBM 5100? The IBM 5150. Which jet engine inventor filed his first patent in 1930? Hans von Ohain, Igor Sikorsky, or Frank Whittle? Frank Whittle. Who discovered nylon while working at DuPont in 1935? Wallace Carothers, Leo Baekeland, or Charles Goodyear? Wallace Carothers. Which engineer produced the first automatic bread slicing machine? William Einthoven, Otto Roeder, or Elijah McCoy? Otto Roeder. Which 1969 series of protests is considered to have started the modern LGBTQ+ rights movement? Compton's riots, Black Cat protests, or the Stonewall riots? The Stonewall riots. Who led the team that developed the high-level programming language called Fortran? Grace Hopper, Dennis Ritchie, or John Backus? John Backus. Which film type was the first successful color transparency film for motion pictures? Kodachrome, Fujicolor, or Ektachrome? Kodachrome. Which ancient Egyptian's tomb was discovered by Howard Carter in November 1922? Ramses II, Cleopatra, or Tutankhamun? Tutankhamun. In what year did the premiere of the first IMAX film format take place? 1971, 1973, or 1975? 1971. At which 1924 event did figure skating for men make its first appearance at the Winter Olympics? St. Moritz Winter Olympics, Chamonix Winter Olympics, or Lake Placid Winter Olympics? The Chamonix Winter Olympics. Which discovery showed evidence of an asteroid impact and linked it to the extinction of dinosaurs? Barringer Crater, Asteroid Bennu, or Chicxulub Crater? The Chicxulub Crater. Which designer introduced the modern bikini at a Paris fashion show in 1946? Coco Chanel, Louis Réard, or Jacques Haim? Louis Réard. Which Italian driver won the first Formula One World Championship race in 1950? Juan Manuel Fangio, Alberto Ascari, or Giuseppe Farina? Giuseppe Farina. Which 1966 robot was among the first mobile robots that could reason about its actions? Shaky, Unimate, or HAL 9000? Shaky. Which photojournalist shot the 1936 migrant mother image symbolizing the Great Depression? Dorothea Lange, Walker Evans, or Arthur Rothstein? Dorothea Lange. Which typeface was designed by Adrian Frutiger in 1957 and became one of the most widely used? Universe, Helvetica, or Times New Roman? Universe. Which 1978 satellite system led to the development of the Global Positioning System, or GPS? GLONASS 1, Navstar, or Transit 1B? Navstar. Which athlete became the first sub-Saharan African to win Olympic gold? Abebe Bikila, Emil Zatopek, or Alain Mimoun? Abebe Bikila. What did Yang Zifa discover in 1974? A lost Buddhist temple, the Terracotta Army site, or ancient jade mine? The Terracotta Army site. Planets orbiting which pulsar in 1992 confirmed the existence of the first known exoplanets? B1-1257, B0531, or J0437? B1257. Which channel's 1980 launch was the first 24-hour news network? Fox News, MSNBC, or CNN? CNN. Which ice hockey team became the first US-based franchise to win the Stanley Cup in 1974? The Boston Bruins, Chicago Blackhawks, or Philadelphia Flyers? Philadelphia Flyers. Which chemist discovered synthetic rubber by polymerizing butadiene with sodium? Carl Ziegler, G. Ebert, or Hermann Staudinger? G. Ebert. Which American newspaper published the first ever crossword puzzle on December 21st, 1913? New York World, the Chicago Tribune, or the Los Angeles Times? New York World. Which park opened in 1927 in Coney Island and is famous for its Cyclone roller coaster? Steep Castle Park, Astroland, or Luna Park? Luna Park. What magazine launched in 1944 and considered the first ever teen magazine? 17, Tiger Beat, or Teen Vogue? '17. Which pull-along toy dog was introduced by Fisher-Price in 1961? Hush Puppy Dog, Snoopy Puppy, or Snoopy Sniffer? Snoopy Sniffer. Which fast food chain was the first to introduce a fish sandwich on its regular menu? Burger King, Wendy's, or McDonald's? McDonald's. Which candy bunny was first produced in 1950 and is now a very popular marshmallow Easter treat? Peeps Marshmallow, Dandy's Marshmallow, or Campfire Marshmallow? Peeps Marshmallow. Who introduced the first kicktail skateboard design? Jay Adams, Larry Stevenson, or Tony Alva? Larry Stevenson. In what year was the measles vaccine used for the first time? 1963, 1971, or 1957? (1963). Which 1925 international agreement prohibited the use of chemical and biological weapons in warfare? Paris Peace Accords, the Hague Convention, or the Geneva Protocol? The Geneva Protocol. Which pilot completed the first solo non-stop flight around the world in 1986 along with Gina Yeager? Robert Hoover, Dick Rutten, or Noah Wyen? Dick Rutten. Which silent film comedian was knighted by Queen Elizabeth II in 1975? Buster Keaton, Harold Lloyd, or Charlie Chaplin? Charlie Chaplin. Which 1979 scientific report first predicted global warming being caused by greenhouse gas emissions? The Charney Report, Kyoto Report, or the Montreal Report? The Charney Report. Who was the first African-American woman to be crowned Miss America in 1983? Linda Carter, Cheryl Boone Isaacs, or Vanessa Williams? Vanessa Williams. And our bonus question, the company that introduced the first Post-it notes was called what? Let us know the answer in the comments, and of course, how well you did with our quiz class Einstein rewards. Thanks for playing, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.